Some of the tools leathercrafters struggle with are edge bevelers. Beveling edges on belts and other items can be very frustrating at times. Well, I think I can help you. My name is George Hurst, and I will do my best today to show you how to prepare your tools to make edge beveling easier and better. To get started, I'd like to show you a few things I have on the table here in front of me. Number one is this nifty little gadget here that I made. It's got 3 places to sharpen and hone different sizes of edge bevelers. It's got some 600 grit wet dry paper here that we can use for sharpening. And on the back, I've got a piece of split leather that's been treated with the white jeweler's rouge, as you see here. And also we've got some wet dry paper here we're going to use in the sharpening. And we've got 2 sizes of the round leather lace. Now, you'll notice here there are 3 sizes on here. What we will do is we will make one of the sizes ourselves. To make a little tool for ourselves, I'll first start with a stick of wood. Now this particular piece here is from a hardware store. It's a paint stick, and you can get those when you get paint, and sometimes you can also talk them into giving you some when you don't buy paint. So I'll put some lines on here with a pencil. These will be the guidelines for our lace. Now, any kind of a stick will work. For instance, that other piece I showed you just a moment ago was made from a piece of 1x4. So now we have a guideline to put our laces on here. Now the first thing I'll do, this is a 2mm round leather lace, and I'll get a piece about this, a little longer than we need, and we'll just cut it off. I'll do the same thing with the 1mm. Cut myself a piece, a little longer than I need. Now for the other piece, we're going to have to make that, and here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to take a piece of 6 to 7 ounce leather. Now you can make these also in several sizes. A lot of times I'll make one from some 6 to 7 ounce and one from some 8 to 9 ounce. Now to start with, I will dampen this with water. You're going to find that your edge beveling is much easier if you dampen your leather, front and back. Now we'll set this aside for a few minutes till it can start to set up and return to its natural color. As you can see, our leather is pretty much returning to its natural color. Now we'll take our edge beveler and we'll, by the way, did you notice how easy this cuts? I've already sharpened this one. It cuts real easy. It gives you a nice clean cut. It's helpful because the tool is sharp and the leather is damp. Now we'll do the same thing to the back side. Notice how clean and nice this comes off of there. Now we're going to get a straight edge. We're going to very carefully place it about maybe 1/8 of an inch in from the edge. Not anymore. Now very carefully take a sharp knife and we will cut very carefully all the way through. This will be our 3rd sharpening lace. And Now what we've got is a lace that's rounded on one side, flat on the other side, and will go on the board very nicely. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take I like to use the leathercraft cement. We will very carefully put a line down each of the lines that we already drew on there. Actually, this is leather weld. I'm using leather weld, not the leathercraft cement. Now we will take our laces and place them on the line. This first one is going to be easier to place than the other two because it is flat on the bottom. The other ones, of course, are completely round. It may help to dip them in water and get them as straight as you can. Dipping in water helps, and a little patience also helps. Take a piece of paper towel, dry it off, and we'll also place this one. You may have to hold this one a little while to keep it in place until it dries. Now we'll take the third one, which is the 1 millimeter. We'll also dip that in water and get it as straight as we can. And we'll also dry this now with a paper towel. Now, pull it and get it right on the line. The straighter the better. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but the straighter the better. If you get a little glue on top, not to worry. Okay, now we'll put these aside and let them dry. We have allowed the glue to dry now, and so now we can proceed with putting jeweler's rouge on these laces. It's just a matter of rubbing it on, and you may have a little bit of a challenge with these smaller laces in that they're kind of smooth and the rouge doesn't want to take on there, so best thing to do is just take a hobby knife and just rough up the surface a little bit, and then it will take the rouge quite nicely. There we go. Get good coverage on here, and of course as you use these from time to time, you will need to add more rouge. Now, on the other side, I have glued a piece of split leather. Can be any kind of thin leathers, although vegetable tan leather is best. And we'll just cover this now also with the rouge. I have here before me two different types of edge bevelers. This is a standard edge beveler, which will give you a 45-degree roughly bevel on the edge of your leather. This one will give you a rounded edge. I prefer the rounded edge because it gives you a better result because you're normally going to slick the edge and you'll get a rounded edge as opposed to an edge with some 45-degree angles on it. To sharpen the flat edge beveler, it's just a matter of on your marble or any other flat surface, draw it back like this and then take it over to your strop and strop it. Now for the other one, it's a little different situation because you have the rounded area in the tool. Now, normally after you've sharpened your tool, you can just strop it. Now, depending on the size of the tool, it's just a matter of finding the right one, bringing it down straight as you see me here. Do not do this. If you do that, you'll round off your edge. Just hold it, find the angle, and come straight down. Now, sometimes when you get, especially if you get a new tool, it's not as sharp as it should be, and it requires a little more than just the stropping. Take a piece of 600 grit wet dry paper, which you can get at any hardware, home improvement store, or auto store, and put it on top of the proper size lace. And as you can see, now I'm sharpening quite a bit more than just polishing. After that, come over and polish on your lace. And you should have a pretty darn good tool now for cutting edges. Let's take our tool now and, oh yes, it cuts very nicely, very smooth, very nice. Every time your tool begins to drag or becomes difficult to cut, just drop it, and if need be, use the wet dry paper as well as the strop. Well, this is George Hurst again. I want to thank you for viewing this video, and I want to remind you that sharp, well-maned tools not only are easier to use, they produce a better product.